Hey guys, so I've tried to stay positive about Borderlands 3 being an exclusive on the Epic Store for the first 6 months after release. For me, I want to play the game on PC as soon as possible, which means playing it on the Epic Store, so I was willing to look past most of the flaws with the Epic Store as a platform just to play the game. But now we just got news that will actually affect gameplay and the experience of the game itself on release day for a ton of PC players, and it has to do with being able to preload the game before release. Which means as soon as the game is available, usually you can download everything before and have it ready to boot up right at midnight. Maybe there's a day one patch or there might be a few other things you need to download, but the bulk of the game will be ready. It also can help people who don't have the fastest internet speeds and want to play at midnight but don't want to wait all night for it to download. This trend has become a standard for most bigger AAA games, so players can start playing as quick as possible. Now, as a point of reference, and the reason this came as such a big surprise that the Epic Store doesn't have this feature, is because back in 2012 for the release of Borderlands 2, the game could be preloaded, which means almost 7 years ago we have a feature on a different platform that the Epic Game Store still doesn't have today. I guess I wrongly assumed this would be available for Borderlands 3 on the Epic Store. I just assumed that it would be something we would get, and now news is coming out that this will not be an option for Borderlands 3's release. Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney confirmed that Borderlands 3 would not have this feature available for preload on their platforms. On August 11th, a fan asked, quote, "So I hate to bother you with a question you probably don't know the answer to, but will we be able to preload Borderlands 3 and will it release at midnight the night of release? Was going to take off work the next day if that's the case." Which Tim Sweeney responded saying, quote, "I'm sorry, we won't have support for preloading in the Borderlands release timeframe." Now, if that was the end of the story, that would be one thing, but another fan jumped into the conversation and said, quote, "So then why is preloading for third-party titles listed as a shipped feature? Is Borderlands 3 not a third-party title? Has preloading not actually been shipped? I'm getting mixed messages here." Tim Sweeney replied once again saying, quote, "It's complicated. We've released support for file preloading, which is sufficient for some games, but we aren't certain if it's up to the demands of a blockbuster like Borderlands," end quote. And it seems like all these bad stories and lack of features just doesn't stop with the Epic Store. And there really isn't a single redeeming feature or news story I've seen so far, and it really sucks and makes it harder and harder to justify this purchase. It seems to me that every turn the Epic Store has made decisions and moves that hurt the players. Go back to when they had their big summer sale and you could get a discounted Borderlands 3 from the Epic Store. A lot of players were interested in that and ready to pre-order the game, especially because they'd have to move to a new platform. Saving money on it made it seem at least like a silver lining for all the bad news. But that deal was then cut short when, after Randy Pitchford posted sending fans to go check it out and make their purchases, Epic actually pulled all the versions of Borderlands 3 off their site and the discount was no longer applied to them. Also, going back further, Randy Pitchford implied that we would not have flaws like this, like not having preloading, by the time Borderlands 3 launched, and promises were made that the Epic Store would fix a lot of these mistakes and complaints people had by the time they launched, and that a big blockbuster like Borderlands would be enough to push them into mainstream and at a better spot to compete with Steam, and it just seems like this isn't the case. All their time frames for changes are so far out at this point, no real moves have been made to fix any of these issues, and communication is basically just telling us that these features won't get added or things won't get fixed until after the release. But I can understand why casual fans and new people jumping into the series might want to wait until Steam for the game to come out because of all these Epic Store disasters and problems that keep coming up. But that's where I'm going to end this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and share, subscribe for all things Borderlands, and I will see you guys in the next one.